right. We are now moving into the citizens' public comment on the budget portion of our agenda. And I'm going to read a little bit of information to you at this time. The Lexington County School District One Board of Trustees provides a time for citizens' public comment regarding the 2021-2022 proposed general fund operating budget. There are a few guidelines we follow during this time. In order to speak, you must be the parent or legal guardian of a student currently attending a Lexington District 1 school, a taxpayer residing in the Lexington District 1 attendance area, an employee of the district, or a student currently attending a Lexington District 1 school. At this time, you may only comment on the general fund budget. We have another time later in the agenda for citizens' participation on other agenda items, school operations or programs. You may not speak about specific individuals, whether students or staff. We want to remind you that this meeting is being live streamed and that the recording of this meeting will be part of the public record in perpetuity. We want to give everyone who came tonight an opportunity to speak, and in order to do that, I will call on each speaker by name and ask you to approach the lectern at the back of the room. The board will not reply to your remarks nor take any action during the board meeting in response to your comments or questions. You may address the board for up to 3 minutes. Please do not clap or make any comments either while an individual speaks or after he or she finishes. As you came in tonight, you received a card to fill out to indicate you wanted to speak. That card asks for your name, address, and other information. However, I will read only your name, the town you reside in, and the name of the schools your children attend when it is your turn to speak. Anyone who is uncomfortable addressing the board in person may always reach out to the board by mail, email, telephone. Our contact information is on the District 1 website. All right, we welcome all messages. I believe we have one card at this time. This is regarding the 2021 general fund budget. Ms. Catherine Carter Jeffcoat would like to speak, and her child attends Gilbert Elementary School.
Kind of sad to be the only one addressing the general funds budget. I appreciate the work of the finance team, but when it comes to the board approving the budget, it's really merely ceremonial. After the approval, the administration can and does transfer millions between funds as well as through line item transfers. I've received all the budget information that the board receives, and I don't see a budget to actual report. How do you know that the money is being spent wisely if you don't know where it's actually being spent? I do see millions of dollars in transfers that don't require board approval. From June 2020 to May 2021, there were about $5 million in line item transfers. Why is the board approval required for a $5 million budget increase for a new middle school, but not for the line item transfers of the same amount in our general funds? Looking back at the previous budgets, a pattern has emerged for me that shows that our proposed budgets are over budgeted on line items and underestimated on revenues. This has resulted in millions of surplus. Then on top of that, the general funds are being transferred to capital funds without board approval, and the board's not given a capital funds budget. Essentially, there are funds original to the general funds being used for capital expenditures. The board has no way of knowing what, where, or how these funds are being spent. For the year ending 6/2020, there were funds transferred to the general funds in the amount of approximately $9 million. Funds were transferred out of the general fund to the tune of about $1.5 million. Granted that some of those funds were earmarked for specific uses, but the board asked for a breakdown of where those funds went and what they were used for. How is the board following these interfund and line item transfers? Positions are being added after the approval of the budget. Where's that money coming from? How do we know the administration isn't over budgeting line items only to later use that money to fund a new position? And please don't simply answer that the board trusts the professionals and the administration. Please do the work to gather the documents and data that verifies that this isn't happening. Create policies to ensure the public that these things aren't occurring. How do we know over budgeting on line items isn't used to transfer to capital funds to cover projects the board doesn't have to approve? Other than a budget book with line items for supplies and salaries, etc., and a PowerPoint presentation, how much do you as a board know the details of where $304 million are going? How can we as stakeholders of District 1 trust the 7 of you with our money when you're satisfied with approving a budget in June, then only being given generalized reports for 12 months that are only for board information with no further discussion or details? Trust is a vital component of the board-superintendent relationship, but it has been used by this board for decades as an excuse to not do the work ensuring fiscal responsibility to the taxpayers. The recent history of questionable procurements, purchasing land of 7 times its value, has led to a number of citizens doing the work that you should be doing, requesting the documentation, compiling the data, crunching the numbers, asking critical questions of the administration, seeking counsel from professionals outside the district, such as financial managers, construction firms, procurement officers, and the like. If you won't do the job to protect public money from the wasteful spending, we will.
Thank you, Mrs. Jeffcoat. Was there anyone else that wanted to make a comment regarding the 2021 general fund budget? No? All right. We will move along then.